We're just a few months to the 2027 elections, and this time around, the President of Nigeria, Tinubu, has signed the amended Electoral Act Bill of 2026 into law in anticipation of the 2027 elections. But that's not what we're talking about. This time, the youths in Nigeria are not having it. There was a protest, and people are still asking for real-time transmission of electoral results. Because, I mean, look at the fact, INEC has failed them in the past few years, and this time they're saying that they will not trust any results that are documented on paper. There's still a ruckus about that, but again, there's also the consideration of voter apathy. Now, over the years, we have seen a drastic decline in youth participation in politics and governance. The last time we saw it decline drastically, and we also saw youth unemployment increase to 33% as of 2024. All of this are the things we need to consider when it comes to youth engagement in politics, especially when we're anticipating the 2027 election. So today on Fafanua Afrika, we will be talking about youth participation or the lack of it in politics and governance, why that is, and what can be done to revive the youth's interest come 2027. This is Fafanua Afrika, the show that spotlights the youths, their challenges, their opportunities, and of course tries to prefer solutions to some of these challenges that they face. And behind me, you can see amazing and brilliant guests that will be helping us to dissect this conversation in just a second. Stay with us. Welcome back. Like I said, it's Fafanua Afrika, and my name is Blessings Musugu. I will be hosting this 1 hour of insightful conversations. Now, today, we aim to settle three major things. Number one, what exactly is happening with INEC, with the federal government, and with the intention in transmitting results? Number two, what is the new ginger that the youths are having about the 2027 elections? Because there have been protests and there have been agitation so far about the real-time transmission of results. And number three, why are the youths reluctant to even participate? Looking at the unemployment rate rising drastically to 33%, and of course, the level of voting and involvement dropping drastically, we can tell that something is fundamentally wrong. Now, these are the things that we'll be talking about today with my amazing guests right here on Fafanua Afrika, and we will be driving straight into the conversation with my guests. So the first question will be, what exactly is happening with the 2027 elections and the real-time transmission of results? Do you think that the federal government is once again trying to armstrong people into putting people into power that they did not actually vote? Let's hear from my guests. Who wants to go first? So the question is, why do you think that there is a level of reluctance by, the Senate, the federal government, to transmit real-time results? Because that's what the protest has been about. They said that they want to, but then they can't depend on the network. But this is a network that they use for many other things. Why is it now that the network is not dependable?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Digbo Moses. I'm a student of political science in the University of Lagos. And one thing that needs to be pointed out is that the Nigerian culture of election is one that is laden with a lot of problems, from rigging to violence and the likes. And this has been a tool for politicians to get their way when it comes to election results. The electronic transmission would be something that would stop a lot of these things, from the rigging, because it's no longer physical and will be transmitted immediately, and to the electoral violence, because you cannot steal from ballot boxes anymore. You cannot go to the streets and cause violence and destroy polling units and the likes. Now, what happens next after this? The government is not able to, or politicians are not able to control these results. And Nigerian politicians want control. You can see this in the case of Governor Fubara in Rivers State, when he was suspended. That was party politics at play. It was pressure, and at the end of the day, he decamped. This is happening all over Nigeria because almost 30 states in Nigeria, 29 to 30 states are currently APC states, and this is due to pressure. And that's the same pressure they want to put in when we are having the 2027 election. And the electronic transmission will not allow that. That's what I think about the entire issue. All
right, thank you very much. Anyone else wants to go? Okay, so the second question will be, why do you think that the youths are all of a sudden involved in this? Because we've seen pockets of protests all around. People are now refusing, unlike before where we waited till few months to the elections and then people started saying, no, we would not allow you to do what you used to do. But this time around, this is like, we have we still have time to the elections, but youths are protesting and they're saying they want real-time transmission of the results. Why do you think that is?
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Imuru Natalia, and I am a mass communication student of UNILAG. So I feel like the youths are stepping up to their game because, one, I feel like we are now under a lot of pressure because we've all experienced Nigeria, and two, we now know the power that we hold. Like, we're now aware of the power that we hold. So we are trying to utilize that power in full. So this is why we're not waiting months before an election to say, oh, we know go green. No, we now know the power that we hold. It's not just a power that we've acquired. No, it's a natural power. It's power that we have as citizens of Nigeria, citizens by birth or by registration or whatever. We know the power that we hold, and we want to now utilize that power to say no against corruption. Because this is mostly because of the experience we have had these past years with the governments that we have ruling us. So now we want change, like we want actual change, and we are willing to put in the work because we know now the power that we hold. So I think that is why the youths are now stepping up now instead of months before election. Yes.
All right, but then I think a follow-up question to that would be, do you think that that would hold water? Because the last elections, we saw how youths mobilized themselves in numbers, came out to the different electoral grounds, and were even counting, along with the INEC officials, they were counting the numbers. But when the results came out, it wasn't really tallying with what the youths counted. So how do you think that this time around is going to be different? Why do we think that they're going to listen? Because now the president has signed the new amended bill into law, and it still subtly states that if the network is unreliable, then we're going to use the paper one. So how are we sure that our voices are being heard?
Good afternoon. My name is Theodora. I'm from University of Lagos, Department of Mass Communication. So I know it's because coming out earlier makes us have our ground. It sets our ground, and it kind of tells the politicians that we know what we're doing, and we know that whatever influence you're trying to use would not affect us this year and this time. So it's coming out earlier to set our platform, to set our ground, and to let them know that, like, your game is totally spoiled because we own what we're doing right now.
All right.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Austin Precious, a student of Nigerian Institute of Journalism. So, yes, we all know that we're in a country where the godfathers, should I put it that way, have more power. And there is high chances that even this year or this coming election, we might still not have that power to do what we want to do as youth. But, like, I believe in when you want to change something, you don't stop. We have been trying over the years, not just now. This is not the first time we've been trying to, like, make changes. But I believe when we keep on doing things over and over again, the government should be able, those on seats right now, should be able to know that, okay, fine, we are tired of them ruling us. We are tired of the same people coming on seats all the time. We want new people. We want new faces. We want young generations that would understand what we want, not just those ones that goes on seat and, just sit there. So I think having to do it over and over again is just to tell them or let them know that we are not stopping anytime soon. We want the change. Even though it doesn't happen now, when it's the coming election, we will still want to, like, show up because we truly want the change. And there's a saying that when you need something, when you want something, you don't stop until you get it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Balogun Favor, student of Mass Communication, NIG. So what I would say is, do the youths really know what they want? Because let's start from, the youths aren't just protesting 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, they've been protesting now, and to be very sincere, everyone just wants different results. We do not want the same thing. So if I and 100 people protest today, then this government comes into power, gives us what we want. am I still a protester? No, I already had what I want. I'm no longer protesting. So even if you are going through hardship, I've had what I wanted. So I'm no more. I'm like, no, I'm okay now. I'm satisfied. I'm no longer protesting. So that's really is the question. Like, if are they protesting because they want something, or are they protesting because they want a change? Because there's a difference. If you want a change, that means like for everyone, like let's change, not just for me, but then people get what they want, and then they're like, okay, I'm not more a bad person. This government now works in my favor. But the moment a new government comes in power with new manifestos, which you see that could probably change or could probably have an effect, a bad effect, and you'll be like, okay, I need to come out and protest. So some people come out to protest because they are seeing these signs that if this man do what he wants, these things might not work for me again, and I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to go back to who I was. So probably being a poor person, then I can't secure jobs, I can't secure my daily meals. So now, okay, let me take cardboard and start protesting. When I protest, and if he does what I want, I stop protesting. So youths sometimes protest because of probably what they want, not really because they really want something to change, but because they want that person to really be a very good president. Because let's be very honest, if something is not going well, I'll talk about it. But if it's going well, I'm silent. That means if it's going well for me, then going bad for others, am I really concerned? Am I a national player, or am I a self-player? Am I self-centered? Am I fighting for a better result, for a better government because of myself? Or am I fighting because of the people? So do the youths really, are they really protesting for the country or protesting because of their personal needs? So that's really where we should really start from, I guess.
My name is Ayoola Babalola from the Nigerian Institute of Journalism. I would say that it appears at this point that what we would call the interest or the personal interest of the youth as a collective is national interest. Most of us that were born, at the dawn of the new republic, 99 downwards, have not had much to be proud of regarding the nationhood of this country, whether it's in development or experience of public services, or even a hope, of a future that's not one of servitude without any sort of reward. So when we say personal interest, what are we talking about here? It's not like any of us really are contractors to the government in any meaningful way. The personal interest would be electricity, would be assurance of jobs, things day to day that ought to be guaranteed to us as citizens of the country. So I don't think personal interest in that sense is selfish interest. Personal interest is born out of the collective sense of, what we should be entitled to as citizens.
Okay, so my name is Precious again, and still on this case, I think it's not just the youth that are crying out, it's everybody in the country. And if you don't want something, or if the person you put in power is not, giving us what we want, we are all humans. We would do what we have to do to probably change the person to get what we want. Okay, we have issues like joblessness, we have issues like electricity and all. And the governments that have been on seats, I think this is I don't know how many years, they have not been doing anything about it. And that is why we keep on requesting for change. Because the country is so damaged to the extent that I don't even think if we even should re-elect a new face, I don't think there will be a change in a long time. It's going to take a lot of process. But the main thing that we are actually fighting now is change, and which is why we youths we are coming out to say we don't want the same person, we want another person, to see if, since the same person is on seats and is not doing anything, to see if a new face will come up and then change everything for us.
Okay, can I answer? Okay, I've greeted everybody already, so good afternoon. Sincerely, because the earlier question was what would be the assurance that the same thing will not happen again when the 2018 election arrives. Sincerely, if that clause that states that if the network is not working fine, that we'll be able to transmit it physically or through the ballot boxes is still part of that bill, then definitely that thing will not amount to anything. Unless we are trying to be idealistic or just talk about dreams, realistically, nothing would happen, because when somebody wants to steal from you and you give them an avenue to steal, they will steal. It's just that simple. I don't believe that the process should end. I believe it's something that needs to continue until that clause itself is removed from the Constitution. Because you cannot tell me that a nation, which is Nigeria, a nation that was called, once we called the giant of Africa, cannot provide a good enough internet connection for an entire election. It is just idealistic to think that we will just decide that we can send it, we can do it physically. The physical will be the next course of action. Because once the results are not going the way they are supposed to go, one phone call will change the entire direction of what is supposed to be happening as a nation. And that will be against our own interests as a nation.
Okay, yes, the initial question is, why is it that youth are coming out very early to address this issue? And my answer to that is that youth are coming out very early to address this issue because we see it as something that is very, very important, and we need to address it as early as possible. Youth are not waiting till 2-3 months to election before coming out to address the issue, because it is very, very crucial to the extent that if we don't address it now, it will be something, it will be a problem, a major problem later on. Take, for instance, the issue of as mentioned earlier, that the clause that if it is not working electronically, we should make use of the manual process. Making use of the manual process or the clause alone being inserted into that act or into that bill is just an avenue for them to escape, saying that yes, the law permits us to use the physical method. So if we don't address it as early as possible, they'll surely use that opportunity to blindfold us and do whatever they want to do again. So this is the right time to address it, and this is the best time to address it.
Okay, so I would say to the man who talked about collective interest and personal interest, it becomes a collective interest when people of the same or persons of the same interest comes together. Now they are fighting because they want something, not because they want everything. Please note that they want something. You can't really come out and say, okay, we are fighting for everything. Give us everything. Give us. There are some things, no matter how hard you fight for, the government will never give it to you. They would never give it to you. No matter how hard you strive, they would never give it to you. Imagine since 1960. Our grandparents, fought for things, and still yet, even we that are born, we are the glass boost era, we are the this era, we don't want nobody for anybody. We still haven't achieved what our grandparents fought for. So it becomes a collective interest when people of the same interest, when persons of the same interest, when persons of people with the same personal interest comes together to agitate for it. So that's when you call it a collective interest. So
okay, let me ask a question to that effect, right? So the question will be, as a collective, would you rather fight for everything at once or fight for change, for each things as they come? Because the country, many people, speculators will say that the country is, damaged beyond redemption, and the only way to fight is to pick one battle at a time. So if we fight for a better government, most of our prayers are answered already, and then we can start fighting. And Nigerians are people who collectively are empathetic. So you see Nigerians rallying around a random person they don't even know on social media. You see Nigerians rallying around somebody who was assaulted, who was beaten up, who was, so don't you think that Nigerians do have that spirit of collectiveness and not always being selfish about their desires? And sometimes selfishness is good because that's what pushes you to join others to fight.
So I would say it's a very good thing that there's collective interest, because that's where your voice is more heard. That's when there's accountability and there's someone to hold, okay, it's this group of people who fought for this and not to just this person, because it's like it's this person. It doesn't hold more source or more credibility. So it's when there's a group, a collective people, and that's why at first they want something, they do not want everything. That's why they go for A before they go for A, B, or B. That's when you see people fight for, okay, give us electricity. Then we want water, because without electricity, it's very, very hard to get water. We can't say give us water, then goes, fine, we have water, but what then? How then could you utilize the water you have? I mean, if you have to cook, there are some things you can't do without electricity, basically. You wash your clothes, you need to look neat. How would you iron without electricity? But then give us electricity, maybe then we would have enough cash to probably drill a bomb, or maybe still the olden days, get buckets, go to river. But how many people even Lagos now can go to one river and be like, oh, I'm looking for water to beat? So give us some things, give us things. Don't give us everything yet. Every government will come and give you different things, even if President Tinubu comes for another 4 years, he won't give us the same thing giving us now. Something different. So even the same person will come for 2 terms and give you different perspective or different things to feel. So that's why you go for something at first. If you get it, then at least have a list. Okay, if this president comes, we want this. But what are the things? What are very crucial? What are the important? What do we need? So let's go for what we need before knowing, okay, he has given us this, given us that. Okay, then we can now probably get more larger group or get more people to probably agitate for the things you really want.
Well, I completely agree with my colleague on, with this perspective of collectiveness as opposed to individualism. But what I want to say is the things we are discussing here, or in this particular context, has to do with the foundations, the foundation of our nationhood, of the country, the integrity of the electoral system. Something or many things cannot stand on nothing. And we are not asking the president to give us, out of benevolence or out of his human compassion for his subjects. We are saying that there has to be a means to hold the government accountable when they perpetrate criminality to retain themselves in power, such as rigging elections, even to the point of violence and things that we have seen before. So this is not so much about sectarian interest. And if you see, even groups that would often not agree with each other have all come together to say this has to do with every one of us. This has to do with, and I'm speaking of, if you observe the Showere movement as opposed to the obedient movement, they don't often go along well. But when it comes to this electoral transmission issue, all hands are on deck to ensure that, look, it has to do with everybody. And we don't want to give room for illegality to continue perpetuating itself. So I think that's what this is about, that everybody has agreed that we have to have a process to ensure that the government does not perpetuate itself in power as opposed to the will of the people. And if you observe, I think it was the PDP administration that gave us one of the most interesting breakthroughs in revolutionizing our electoral system. And the APC administration has sought every electoral cycle to set us back. This government is telling us that they don't have or they cannot rely on internet, the internet currently present in the country to transmit election results. But under this same government, they are making grandiose promises regarding the use of AI technology. The Minister of Digital Economy and Innovation, if I'm correct now, Bosun Tijani, did a very elaborate ceremony in Abuja when he was inaugurated, saying that they are trying to draft AI policy for the country. To date, I don't think anybody has heard, of that policy since they had their large ceremony. So when it comes to bamboozling themselves, not the people now, they speak of these things. They talk of AI, how they want to use AI to do things, internet and all of that. But when it comes to guaranteeing something as simple as transmission of results electronically, they are trying to convince us as though all of us are not aware of the situation on ground, that there is no network to transmit results. And I don't think that's true at all.
All right, thank you very much. We are still having this conversation, and we have people who will still weigh in on this. Our conversation has slightly taken a detour to whether we're fighting out of general interest or personal interest. But then, remember the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So are we fighting because we have common goals or common enemies? We're going to find out. This is Fafanua Afrika, and we'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we've got more to talk about on this particular discourse. So stay with us. Well, it's still Fafanua Afrika, and my name is Blessings Musugu. I am your host, and we have been having an insightful conversation about the youth involvement in politics and governance in general. And before we went on the break, we're having a very important conversation about whether or not the youth are fighting for general interests or for selfish reasons. And then we're trying to juxtapose whether or not even the selfish reasons makes up for something when they fight together as a collective. There's one more question brooding in my mind that I would ask just after we conclude the general interest conversation, and that is, one of the speakers made a very, very vital point, which is inheritance of baggages, so which means that even if a new administration comes into power, we may not see results until a long time ago. And the question will be, are the youths patient enough to wait to see results? But first, let's continue the general interest versus selfish reasons conversation that we were having before the break. Someone here wanted to talk.
Good day, everyone. My name is Emmanuel, a mass comm student from the University of Lagos. So for me, I think he talked about what we want. I think what we want are just the basic amenities, right? We want good roads, we want stable electricity, we want good healthcare. We don't want our hospitals to be death traps. I mean, Nigerian hospitals are, let me just say, it's one of the worst in the world. I mean, so what we just want are the basic things of life that other citizens in other countries get to enjoy. We just want the basic things. And for me, I think what is wrong with Nigeria is a systemic rot. Yes, I don't think it's a personality thing. I mean, just look at it from, okay, let me say from 1966 to date. All the leaders who have had have been, let me just put it like failures. So that doesn't mean that it's not a personality thing. I think it's a systemic thing. And so for the youth, they just have to keep trying because it's systemic. It's not an individual. You're not fighting against an individual. You're fighting against the system. So, and the people that are benefiting from the system will not want to change. So you just have to keep fighting, keep advocating. And I think the youth also have to start from the grassroots, right? There are a lot of things that the president can't do, right? For example, provision of like community roads. It's not the president that will fix your community roads, right? It's your chairman, your councillors. What are they doing with the money? So I think we have to start from the grassroots, and we just have to keep fighting. We don't have to relent. And I think change is not something that comes in a day. It takes time, maybe years. But I mean, our parents, I know our parents, when they were young, they sang the song, it go better, it go better. They are older now, and we also have started singing the song. But we just have to keep fighting. That's what I think. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Abdelbaki Jibril. I'm a student of the Nigerian Institute of Journalism, NIJ Ogba. So I feel the youth, we want to see results. We want to see the result of what is going on. Let's talk about the corruption. The corruption is one of the major problems affecting the country right now. Corruption and disunity among the political apparatus and political actors. We want to see results of what is going on. What is going on? What are the basic amenities the youth needs now? We need water, employment. There are some basic amenities like the government needs to fix. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Grace from the Nigerian Institute of Journalism. Okay, so according to what he said, I think like the youths are still going to like keep trying. Although they've been trying since all these like the years that they've been into politics, that Nigeria have gained independence, and we've been seeing what our leaders have been doing. So I think like the youth should continue to try, although most of the youth nowadays, they have the mindset already that Nigeria cannot change. Most of the youths have the mindset already, but I think like they should keep trying. And also the government, they should like try to like build that trust and also provide the social amenities that the youth have been asking of since the time we've gained independence.
All right, let's put a pause very quickly. I want to find out, I mean, she raised a very vital point, and I want us to discuss that. And that is, how long is too long? And by that, I mean, the last administration came, they asked for time and time and time till they left. The new administration came and asked for time. You know, they're celebrating 1 year in office, 2 years in office, and we're not seeing anything. And when we ask, the excuse is always they inherited a lot of baggage from the past administration. And so it's going to take a lot of time to see results. How long is too long? And are they saying that the youths are not patient enough, or that some of these issues cannot be resolved fast enough?
Lakudus from Lagos State University. So the question is, are the youth not patient enough? But my answer to that is that we are patient enough. And at this point in time, we don't want to wait anymore. We can't wait anymore. We've been waiting since 1960. Nigeria gained independence in 1960. Other countries that are just developing have better things. They have better amenities, electricity, water, road, everything is there. Nigeria, the youth in Nigeria cannot wait anymore. We cannot wait anymore. We want the change now. It is too late for waiting. Patience without any progress is a pain in the ass. Permit me for that word. Patience without any progress is a pain. So there is no use for waiting and waiting and waiting. We've been waiting for so long, At this point in time, we need change and we need immediate change. So if they are not doing anything there, let the youth come into power and do the right thing. All this, you have to be 40 years before you become the president of Nigeria. It's just a waste of time. Let the youth come in with new ideas, new tactics, new strategy to fix this thing. Waiting for 4 years. 4 years is too long. 4 years is too long for any change to happen. You can do it now and do it right away. So that's just my solution to that.
Okay, I would just like to say that in as much as we want change now, we all know that that is not possible. Even if it is possible, it takes a divine intervention or something. It's not possible. What we want, we will be patient enough if we see progress, if we see the small changes, for us to now look onto the brighter side and say, yes, finally, our voices are being heard. Finally, our government is acting right. Finally, things are looking better. So we cannot say, oh, we want change, give us change. We are very, very violent. No, we can't do that. If we see progress, if we see baby stage, adult stage, if we see that, oh, okay, change is coming, like it's here and then it's slow, but it's working, of course we will be patient. Of course the youth will be patient. I think it's just drastic and it doesn't make any sense to say change is change. We want change now and we want immediate change. And if it doesn't happen, then we'll spoil everywhere. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, for me, I think change is incremental, right? That's good. But also know that we're talking about our lives here. I mean, President Buhari said we should give him time. He used 8 years. I mean, that is 8 years of most people's lives wasted. Because for me, I count some of his government term as like a waste. So that's 8 years wasted. So you can't keep asking us to give you time. Time to do what? Time that you're not using it to do anything. Governors, poor, you're not implementing sound economic policies. I'm asking to give us you're asking us to give you time. So actually, it's our lives that is at stake here. It's our future, our youth that is at stake. So you can't use us to play games and keep asking us to give it time. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yes, we're talking about change. We're talking about progress. I'm Rachel Olede from Lagos State University. According to what she said, we're talking about change. But it starts with little progress, right? But how do we get change when those are in power are not even youth? They don't understand what we are going through. They don't get our pain. They don't feel us. Like we don't have the same goals. We don't have what we need. So how do we get this change whereby youth participation is not being encouraged? So I just feel that if we want this change and if we are really, really serious about this progress, we should make laws about youth participation. Like according to the WHO, youth starts from the age of 15 to 24. So we start making participation from grassroots government. There should be youth participation. That is local government. There should be youth participation. So I feel like there should be more involvement in youth participation so we can start seeing changes and progress.
I think my name is Theodora, and I think the problem with the change we've been shouting is the transparency of the government. Like, they keep on coming into power and saying they're trying to clear out the baggage that they inherited or stuff, but we don't exactly know what baggage they've inherited. And for years, they've been saying the same thing and the same thing and the same thing. But all we see is like stuff's getting worse, debt's getting higher, security getting more horrible every year and every election and everything. The problem is the transparency. The governments are not transparent with what they're actually doing in office. We're not seeing anything. We're not hearing anything. They come in office with a very good manifesto, and like when they're going out, it's worse. They leave it worse than they actually met it.
Good afternoon, everybody, again. I feel like the government, first of all, what time is too long of a time? If we see progress, we know progress. Nigerians are smart people. There are a lot of educated people in Nigeria. People drop out of school every day from various fields of study. And a lot of the things that are most perennial to the interests of people in a nation is, first of all, its politics and its economy. And these are things that has been imbibed in the educational system towards every person, no matter how small. Look at when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu became president. The first thing he did was to remove subsidy. The next thing he did was to float the naira. Normally in economics, when you remove subsidy from a particular part of the economy, the reason why you do that is to put it somewhere else. It would create a burden on the people, but in the long run, it tends to remove that burden because of the revenue it's going to generate. Look at the floating of Naira, for example. We did so is the international space runs on, or when you float Naira, it runs on the idea of demand and supply. How much do people need your currency? Nigeria is not an exporting state except from our oil, yeah? And even that has been loaned out has been given out in advance to collect loans, yeah? Knowing quite well that we are not a producing state, we decided to float the Naira. Floating the Naira plus the subsidy cost Nigeria a lot of problems. From the increase in standard of living to people not being able to afford their daily necessities. This was something that I had various arguments with various people in the hostel at that point in time because it was a lot. Because I told people that, how are you not seeing this thing? Because you know this thing is going to cause us a problem in the long run. Some people did, some people did not. But that's why there are people that are educated on certain things that would educate other people. If this set of people see that you are working towards change, and they see these things in the long run, that this policy that this person is putting in place would actually have a long-term effect, they will tell it to the people through avenues like this current news channel that is going on. People tell people other things due to, they tell people their observations based on what they have studied. A nation like China was in a state of poverty before the 20th century. Their story changed so fast that it was really shocking. And this was due to stern governance. They had a law on corruption. Not just you, but your family would pay for anything you did in power. When a president of a nation or the council or the legislator say that not just you, but your family will pay for any form of corruption, Nigerians will know that, yes, the government is working on our behalf. And even if that change is not seen the next day, you know that change is coming because of the actions of the government.
I want to say, the question is that how long is too long, right? And are we patient enough to wait? And that leads me to agree with what most of my colleagues have said. The thing is, what are we doing? Where are we headed? You know, what are we being patient with? The 2023 election cycle showed us one thing. It was more like it was the same consultant who wrote the manifesto of the three major political parties. They all promised the same thing. They were going to remove subsidy, they were going to float the Naira, and there is no question as to whether we would have arrived, you know, in the same place. So, and that's what we are going through right now. And if we say we want to change, what are we changing to? And is this something that we are going to be, you know, able to be patient with? So we have to first of all sort of crystallize that. We also have to see ourselves as members of a global collective, because the problems of Nigeria and the problems of young people in Nigeria is not so much different from the problems of other countries in Africa and other young people in Africa. So we are operating within a global framework that is disadvantageous to us, you know, fundamentally. If we have a government that comes and say, oh, let us nationalize the oil industry, let us stop making the oil industry, you know, sort of a rent-seeking economy where it's just extraction and extraction, and that these things can further benefit the Nigerian people. And, you know, the government does this. Are we ready to stand by that government when all the attacks from, you know, the global actors start flowing in? And that leads me to my second point, that the youth also have to see themselves as part of a class. The youth is just a demography, and we don't make the country, you know, just being youth. There are civil servants who dedicated their own youth, you know, to this country, and they have nothing to show for it, and they are still around. There are people in the informal economic sector who have also done their best, and they also have nothing to show for it. And it will just not be right if we say that, oh, it's just the youth, and, you know, we should take charge of doing these things and setting things right. Youth is not an ideology. So we have to see ourselves as part of this class. The overwhelming majority of Nigerian youth, you know, if you are not Wike's child and you don't have your father stealing lands for you in Abuja, you know, the overwhelming majority of Nigerian youths are in the lower class, the middle class, the lower class. So we have to recognize, we have to have a sort of a class consciousness of these issues so that we can solidarize with other demography, even if they are not youth, you know, people in the informal sector, trade unions, associations, and form a real political front to first of all philosophize this country. Do we think, is capitalism even compatible with our culture? Because every time the youth, want to say something or go another way, one of the cages that the elders use is that it is not cultural, it's not cultural. And, we want to ask, this culture that they are so much particular about, is the economic system that you want to impose upon us so much in tandem with the culture? So if we are able to philosophize these things, we'll see that we'll be able to chart a different course, and then knowing fully well that this course is our course. We spoke about it together. It's not this one that Akpabio, on behalf of Tinubu, will do a major constitutional amendment in Abuja, and it will pass within 10 hours without public input. So we are definitely going to know that this is our own cause. This is something we spoke about together. This is something we agreed on together. And definitely it's not going to happen overnight. But then we would now be patient with the process. Not just because we are involved. We are not expecting them to do it on our behalf. We are all doing it together. That's what I think.
So, sorry. I will say based on the change, starting from the change aspect. So we all want change. We all want something. Like, as agreed, we all want change in this country. So let's say the president, or even let's say the governor of Lagos State drives in here and then give every one of us the change we want. Would you fight for change? I mean, it gives you the lifestyle, it gives you the wealth, the fame, the power, the everything. Like, everything you've ever aspired to be. The governor of Lagos State drives in now and like, okay, you guys want change, right? Take this change. Like, it gives every one of us the change. How many of us here, after getting the power, the change you want, would go out there and still protest for change? It's personal. Like, he personally asks you what, like, you want something, and that's the problem with the economic system. He goes.
Sorry, okay, so let's use your ideology. If I want better hospital care, maybe something happened in the hospital and then it makes me very passionate about better hospital care. Does he just come in here and gives it to me?
He does it for you. He does it for you. Like, it's
collective. It's better hospital care. But would you still? It's not personal. Of course I would, because it's not just the only thing I need. I said
he gives you all. Like, he gives all the ever wanted.
It's collective. Then it becomes collective. It's not personal then, because it depends on the change that I need. It depends, and you can't tell me money. You can't tell me everybody wants money as change. No,
not everybody wants, but
exactly. It depends on
we
the
all
change
want a better lifestyle, and money funds your lifestyle. If you agree,
you're not getting exactly. That's not change. That's not change.
So, okay, thank you very much. So earlier, I made mention of the fact that change. We want immediate change, but one thing I want to add to that is that change is procedural. It is not as immediate as I said earlier. It is procedural. So what I mean by we want immediate changes, we want to see sign that there is something coming up. We want to see something that, oh, they are doing something in our favor. We want to see new laws. We want to see improvements. We want to see new achievements. We don't just want to see, oh, they made a law for you guys. No, it's not supposed to be like that. We want to see change. We want to see step. We want to see new things, not just the fact that we want immediate change and everything will just happen all of a sudden. No, it is procedural. So we will take a step at a time. That's what I mean by we want immediate change.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Esther Messier from the Department of Mass Communication in INEC. So yes, all of us, we want this change. Okay, it's not fast. It's not fast or anything, but somebody has said it. We cannot keep waiting. We cannot keep waiting till when? Is it till when someone get married or leave this country? That's why I don't blame people that leave the country. I don't blame them at all. Now, there's this meme that was going around. Was it not last week? I don't know, that the current president said that if he doesn't give us stable lights for 4 years, we should not re-elect him. My house, we don't have stable lights for a week. We don't have stable light for a week, not to talk for a year. So, how long do you want us to wait? I don't blame people that even leave this country. I actually don't blame them. So, and you're saying if a governor comes here now and gives us the change, it's not even possible to even give you the change. It's not possible to give everybody the change that we want. I don't think it's possible. I don't think so.
All right. Like what I said earlier, I said the problem of Nigeria is systemic. It's not about personality. I mean, we're talking about let's get more youths engaged. The head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, was I think 31 or so when he became the head of state of Nigeria. I mean, he made no, like, apart from keeping the country united, he made no tangible efforts economically. So even though we say more youth should get engaged, they are going to be sucked into that evil system, that evil political system. Now, most Nigerian politicians if you ask most Nigerian politicians, they are not that intelligent, I'm sorry to say, right? They are not guided by ideology. If you ask most, if you take most American or Western politicians, they have what they stand for. Most Nigerian politicians stand for money. That's why you see them, they will go from APC to PDP to Labour, they will just be moving around because they don't have anything, any philosophy guiding them. So like what he said about change, like if, now we have seen many youths who go in, they want to change the system, they want to do that, but immediately they are given a post. The tone changes, right? There's a popular actor, he was an Hollywood actor, now he's a House of Assembly member in Lagos State. Now, I mean, he doesn't talk, like he doesn't even advocate or criticize or anything. Why? Because he has already become a part of the system. He's already enjoying the benefits. So if the governor comes in now, says that, okay, what's your pain point? What do you need? Oh, I need a scholarship. I need my parents to travel abroad. If he does that for me, there are some people that will be like, well, since I'm already out of this country, I don't care again. So that's just it. So we have to change the system, and that's why the fight needs to keep going on. Right? It's not as if you are fighting against a personality. It's a system. They are benefiting from it. And it has been in place since independence. So.
All right.
Okay.
I want to believe that the government understands everything that we need as a citizen. The government understands everything. But the question we are supposed to be asking ourselves right now is, what are they doing about it? What are they doing about it? Thank you.
Okay.
So in regards to this, a simple question would be, is it really possible for you to get everything that you want? Because don't forget, you also have family, you have extended family, you have friends, you have children in schools. So is it possible for one person to get, let's say, one reform or even 10 reforms would address every single challenge that Nigerian youth are facing?
Okay, so personally, I feel you can't get everything. You can't get the whole change. My definition of change is different from her own definition of change. My own definition of change might be, okay, I need money to pay my school fees, I need light and electricity. Her own might be different from mine. And so, like, change is like your own person. What is your own definition of change? What would happen that you say, yes, this is change? Something might happen now, and I'll be like, okay, this is what I want, but that is not what she wants. And also, going back to the whole, if we are patient enough, if we can be patient enough, I don't think, like, the patience of a thing is something that we have had before. And if we are not being calm, we won't get what we want. Let us consider the next person. Okay, let's take, for example, we all get the whole thing that we've been clamoring for. Okay, we need a youth to step on that seat. Let us pity that person. Because if you keep on saying, I want change, like now, if you are the one to step on that seat, will you be able to do that change immediately? It's something that would happen little by little. Just like she said, she used an example, like when a child wants to learn how to walk, or the stages of being a child to an adult. You can't get change immediately. It takes time. Because the country is so damaged enough to even get that change immediately. So,
okay.
That's just...
to answer the question.
Sorry, I wanted to add to what my colleague over here said. He was talking about the system and the structures, that there are fundamental problems with the system. That is a system that takes people in and imbibes the culture of the system into them. And it's something that's normal. Now, what is one thing that changes a system? It is the ability of the electorate. If that thing alone, if that thing is taken away from us, there's nothing we can do about the system. A politician is only scared of the electorate that can remove him from power. You do not listen to people that have no power over you. That's what politics is as a whole. The ability of A to make B do what he wouldn't ordinarily do. And that's the power that the electorate is supposed to have. But we do not have that. This is a foundational thing that needs to change. It is a foundation which other things will stand on. Without the ability to change your leaders, you have no power in the country. You are just reactionary. You are moving according to the whims and caprices of the people in power. You are moving according to the ideologies of the elites. At the end of the day, you go out to vote and you come back home and nothing will change. Most Nigerians don't know that they have the power to recall their senators from the House of Senate and the House of Rep. Yeah? And this is a problem of lack of education, yes. But also, the avenues to these things are unavailable. If we can, first of all, change the electoral sector and make reforms to elections, from there, every other change can follow. The system is corrupt, yes, but there has to be a starting point to changing this system.
Okay, just to add to that.
Apologies. I just want to I think I have a follow-up question to the issue of the general interest and the selfish interest. And I want to genuinely ask, are we now saying that we've lost touch to the point where we do not understand that we are all interconnected? Let me use an example. In the case of, say, security or no security, security might not be your challenge directly, but most of your food is coming from the north. So if the farmers can't farm in the north, what is the guarantee that you will get food where you are? So I just wanted to ask that question in addition to all of
yes,
this.
to answer that question in relation to your first question, which is, can we get all the change we want? The answer to that is we cannot get all the change we want at once, but what we need to do is to address the problem of the majority. You cannot address all the problem all at once. So what we need to do is identify one major problem that everybody or majority of the people are facing. Let's take, for instance, we have the problem of electricity, we have problem of good road, we have problem of bad road rather, electricity, water, then value of our money. We can address electricity first, then later on you address the next one based on, okay, how many people are facing this problem? The youth now, youth form basically 60 to 70% of the general population of Nigeria. The major problem that is faced by not just the youth, but majority of Nigeria is electricity. And you can see that most Nigeria are clamoring for, we want 24 hours electricity, we want 24 hours electricity. This is a major question. This is a major problem that is facing majority of the people. So address this first, then move on to another thing. Then to add to what he said earlier about the fact that you need to address the foundation before you can address the major problem. You cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. So you need to address the foundation. You need to address the base, the law itself, before you can address the problem. That's
all right, very quickly, the conversation here still continues, just as the way it continues in our lips and in our houses. We are genuinely asking the question, how long is too long, and what new reforms do we need, and whether or not we're fighting for general interest or selfish interest. We'll continue shortly, but this is Fafanua Afrika. Thanks for watching this episode. We still will continue the conversation if you want to keep watching, but join us on our subsequent episodes as we discuss the challenges of the youth and how to solve them. My name is Blessings Mosugu. Thank you.